What's up, friends? I'm back, and I started One Piece, and I'm 130-ish episodes in. So I'm just gonna give my thoughts on where I'm at right now while drawing Mr. Luffy. So enjoy. What's up, pirates? I'm here today to discuss some of my thoughts on One Piece, as I've just kind of knocked out a good chunk of it, a good 1/9 of it. I'm about 130, 140 episodes in. I just kind of neared. I've gotten to the end of the Alabasta arc, and unlike the Hunter x Hunter video, I'm just gonna speak raw. You're gonna get the stumbles. You're gonna get the stutters, and because it just takes way too long to edit all that. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna tell you why I was so I don't want to say repulsed, but not. I was just not into wanting to see this show for like my whole life, pretty much up till now. And thanks to the stay-at-home order, I have somehow stumbled across hundreds of hours of free time where I can just stare at a screen. So you know what perfectly covers that, right? So I decided to just dive right in, despite all these years of just kind of holding it off because of how long it was. At first, I didn't really like the art style that much. It's definitely grown on me. But at first, it just looked too like rounded and too kind of like silly, like Tiny Toons or Looney Tunes at first. It didn't really have like that edgy sort of like sharp style that like a show like Dragon Ball has, where you got these like rugged dudes like trying to smash the shit out of each other, and Super Saiyan hair. And like I understand there's a lot more to the show, but I think at first I just kind of wrote it off as not a big deal, right? But as the years went by, I saw the popularity rise, and whoops, I saw it rise, and each week on Twitter there'd be like the new chapter trending, and I'd never really seen manga chapters trend. I think My Hero chapters have trended a couple times, and so has Dragon Ball Super recently with the new Moro chapter that I don't want to get too much into. I might be drawing a certain scene and maybe making a video about it. Why not? It's pretty gruesome though, so hopefully you're over 18, I guess. I don't know. If you're not, then just there's a lot of blood. You've played GTA. I'm sure you're used to it. But so One Piece. So I figured, just what, I have so much time. Let's start it. And I started watching it, and I started kind of understanding that Luffy is a little bit different from a character like Goku, where he is indeed determined to like beat the bad guy and complete the mission, do the thing he wants. Um, but he had like a much more of like a goofier side to him, much more of like a airheaded side. Like Goku has that, but I feel like Luffy is a little bit dumber, but in a funnier way, if that makes sense. Um, but the other thing that I liked about Luffy was the fact that he was like so determined to help his friends, throw everything aside, throw his main objective aside to just help whoever was in need at that time. Like you can't really say that for Goku, who was more determined to just like beat the bad guy. I mean, he wants to protect his friends, but he doesn't like really go out of his way to. And he also, and like Goku, Luffy likes eating a lot. And I don't know if I already covered this on my channel before, but have you guys noticed how like every shonen character except Izuku is like a really heavy eater? Like I understand that like they eat a lot so they can get the protein and power they need to be strong and whatnot, but like most of the time these guys are eating rice and rice balls and stuff, and noodles, and none of that seems like it would be substance enough to really add on to the muscly part of it. I mean, excuse me, I don't really know much about nutrition. Honestly, I just had a Lunchable for lunch. So, but yeah, you got Naruto, who's just like constantly hungering for ramen, and Goku, who just like constantly wants to eat, and Luffy, and it just seems like those older aged kind of like anime really directed the character on just being like a food hoarder, or at least it kind of seems that way to me. But like Deku is a lot more timid and doesn't really knock somebody out for a whole bowl of rice, you know what I mean? But that's besides the point. What really got me kind of hooked and inspired me to keep watching was, I think, the whole Arlong Park scenario. Kind of like how Nami really needed Luffy's help, and that's kind of the first time that all the whole crew kind of comes together to work towards something. And I will tell you that all the Funimation voices were a little distracting at first. Like, how you got Usopp, who's like Krillin, and Arlong, who's Hercule. Like, all I could hear was like, because usually when I'm watching this show, I'm also like working and kind of either working on drawings or something like that. So I'm listening to it a lot more of the time, and it just pretty much sounded like I was listening to Dragon Ball after growing up listening to these voices voice these characters, especially with Zoro. Like Piccolo was basically in the group. But it was kind of funny. It was like during the whole Arlong fight with Luffy, it felt like I was just listening to Gohan fight Hercule. But obviously I had to get over that, and I eventually did. But so yeah, just that scene where Nami was like, "Help me, Luffy," and then it like pulled back and did that like sort of zoom out on the whole group, like just kind of standing there ready to do what they can to protect her. That was it. I was like, okay, I'm with the group. I'm part of the crew. We're going in. We're going to get the One Piece. We're going to the Grand Line. And so yeah, I think that was where it clicked. And then I think what cemented it was the whole Drum Island Wapol arc situation, where Chopper came in and Nami got bit by the bug and started getting sick, and so Luffy had to carry her and eventually Sanji alone up a vertical mountain with just bare hands, like got his fingernails bleeding and everything. That was absolutely nuts. And that's what kind of hyped me up way more. Like, damn, Luffy is going above and beyond right now. This is a good guy right here. I think he's gonna go far, and he eventually does 900 episodes later. But then like following that, they kind of hit you with the Chopper backstory, and I'm not gonna really go into like many deep story details because I'm assuming most of you watching have already seen the show. But that whole backstory with Chopper and I'm blanking on his guardian's name, but the older lady. That whole backstory with the cherry blossoms and everything, man. It was just such a nice little way to tie the cherry on top of that whole arc. The way they kind of sent you off, and Chopper joins the crew. And I hated Chopper and his design going into the show, and now he's adorable, and I love him. And I think I should add that probably another big point of contingency with my like difficulty getting into One Piece and trying to like it was that at work, at my job, I worked on a couple One Piece projects, and like the licensors were really strict, and I think it just kind of pushed me away a bit. I won't get further into that, but there was a lot of like, the One Piece project came back, and that kind of eventually became my one project that kept reoccurring, needed revisions and everything, and it went on for like a year and a half. It was pretty bad, but I think that's kind of where my whole disconnection started growing with the show. But it's just like I said, I had just like the voice actors, I got to get over it. There's this beautiful show, this beautiful work of art that I just keep pushing away because of my own personal conflicts with it, right? So you got to learn to set that aside and appreciate it for what it is. And as I continue watching, I'm enjoying it, and I'm liking all the side arcs and all the kind of filler stuff. But then we hit Alabasta. We hit the Alabasta arc, and people start dropping like flies. Luffy starts losing a lot. Like every fight, every time he comes in contact with Crocodile, he loses, and in the most saddest, painful way. And it's like it shows you that these characters aren't as invincible as you think any sort of shonen anime would make them. They can lose a couple times. Um, that was kind of like a foreign concept too, to just like have the hero lose a lot of times. Like I know in My Hero it happens now, and even in Hunter x Hunter, but I'm trying to like watch it with the mindset that this came out like 20 years ago. So you have Goku who like always eventually won, but then you have Luffy who like kept losing and coming back. It reminds me of that first gym battle with Ash and Pikachu on Pokemon, where he lost at the beginning, and it was like, what? They're gonna make the main character lose, but that's what makes the show ultimately good in the end, and kind of what makes me just so interested in it, and I'm assuming what made everybody else so interested in it was kind of how the characters' stories are unfolding like in front of you, like as Luffy goes on his adventure and meets each member of the crew. They have their own backstory episode, which kind of builds your empathy for the character. And then each time they have that episode, they have that introduction, you really feel like you're kind of going on the whole journey with them. I mean, obvious, like as cliche as it sounds, it makes it worth it each time a character either gets a victory or you see him lose, because you've kind of watched them build themselves up to this moment, and it really pays off each time that kind of comes to fruition. Excuse me. I'm very burpy today. I'm sorry. I've edited out a lot of them, but I think I'm just gonna leave that one in, and that's the only one, I promise. So then you get to Alabasta, where each character kind of has their own fight with one of the main Baroque Works guys, and it's also really cool because each kind of fight is a really good contrast against the character that's fighting them. So like with Nami and the blue hair girl, and then Zoro with the sword guy. And I'm really sorry that I don't remember these names, but I'm absolutely terrible with names. Um, like with the Hunter x Hunter video, I actually like did the research and everything, but this is just off the cuff because I got time and I want to make a video real quick. But each kind of fight there during that Alabasta arc was just really nice to kind of watch, and like each hero had to sacrifice a bunch during that fight, and it felt like a really good culmination of just the whole kind of series adding up to this point, because like each of the Straw Hat members like showed up and had to do their work and had to use their specific skill to take care of an enemy, and the consequences felt a lot more dire than ever before. So it was like every one of the Straw Hat guys were just like really putting their lives and everything on the line for Vivi and the whole Alabasta thing. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to get them any closer to the original mission to find the One Piece, but it's just crazy how they go off on these sort of tangents, and it becomes this like huge amazing arc that helps the characters develop and grow like a lot, and gives you so much more context and kind of what everybody's end all goal would be. So yeah, those are just some of my thoughts on kind of what I've been thinking about the show, and seeing as it's been kind of revolving around my life for the past couple months, seeing as it's really all I've been watching. But I'm grateful that I started it. I'm grateful that I sticked with it, because now I want to see the rest. Now I hear a lot about this time skip. Everybody references the time skip, so I'm just like kind of on the edge of my seat waiting for when this time skip's going to hit me. I've spoiled a couple things, which kind of sucks. But I mean, that's kind of what you get for drawings of the characters, but you know, it's all good. It's not about the end, it's about the journey, and this is a very long journey. You know, some might say it's the longest of all the journeys, and you know, I'm on the roller coaster now, and hopefully I'll be able to update you guys. I'm gonna get through, maybe I'll try to get through like half of the whole show. Like maybe when I hit episode 500 or I get to the time skip or something, I'll make a little sequel to this video, and probably I'll be drawing an older version of Luffy. Who knows? So thank you for listening to my thoughts. I really appreciate you taking the time, caring about my random opinion on One Piece. And next video will probably be more of like a tutorial video. I think I've done enough, like kind of just talking about shows. I have some requests to do like faces and inking tutorials and stuff, and hopefully I'll get one of those out soon. So until next time, thanks a lot, and take it easy.